Don't let it get to your head, but there is a good chance that you're meant for way more than you think you are. Right? Okay, hear me out. You know how when you were a kid, you were asked, what do you want to be in 10 years? Who do you see yourself becoming in the future? What do you want to do when you grow up? Right? And some of you might not know what to say, or some of you would have said, I want to be a doctor, a lawyer, an astronaut, right? And the thing is, if you were to ask yourself that same question today, or at least like, is this where you expected yourself to be 10 years ago, 15 years ago? Man, I would pay like good money to say that the answer would probably not be easy, right? And it's probably because we're asked that question at such a young age, right? At such an early stage in our life, wherein we don't know how the world works. Obviously, we don't. We think life is a straight line, it's A to B. But then now, you know, we know, or at least we should know, that life is not A to B. It is not a straight line. It is a spiral, a roller coaster of ups, downs, and plot twists. It is not A to B. It is the entire goddamn alphabet. And I think today, this episode or whatever, that's going to be the focus, which is even if we know life is not a straight line, there are people who live life like it is. And it is genuinely one of the things that pisses me off the most right now. I don't want this to be too long and I don't want this to be too negative, right? So I'm going to try my best to keep it more concise. But listen, man, I just came off of class and I am so burnt out just listening to a professor talk and talk and talk and talk. And it's just not fun. It's not fun. And I think that's a perfect way to segue into actually my first point, which is that the college life, right? Again, I'm not gonna say everything I said before again, but at a young age, we're told that we should study hard to get good grades to graduate, to get into a good college, and then study hard again to get a good diploma, and use that diploma to get a good job, stable job, and then get paid, then retire. Blah. That is the framework that we are sold at a very young age. And here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. Am I saying it doesn't work? No. It obviously works. Right? It obviously works. I'm not gonna be those people that say college is a scam. It's not. If you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant, you need a diploma. That's how the system works. Okay, fine. But this is more so for the people who they're sitting in the classroom, they're sitting in the lecture room, and they're just waiting. They're just waiting, they're just counting down the seconds until they can go home and just enjoy the rest of your day. This is for those people because I used to be that. I used to be that. I would just count down the seconds until I can get back home and just do whatever I want because I was just so burnt out. But the thing is, right, I'm pretty sure there are so many other people who are like that. But the thing is, there are just as many people, or even more people, or rather, there are even lesser people that actually do something about that, right? Sure, you're burnt out. Sure, you're tired. But let me tell you, man, I've met so many people who I am glad to not know anymore, or glad to not talk to anymore, who do absolutely nothing but complain and complain and complain and complain. They complain about the university, about the system, about the country, about the finances, about their love life, about their spirituality, about everything. They do nothing but complain. They do nothing but complain. And it's genuinely one of the most annoying things for me. Because what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Just going to complain? Okay. Then don't expect anything to change if all you're going to do is complain about it. He is a bad man, but he might actually be right. Voss from Far Cry 3. You can't do the exact same shit every day expecting it to change. That is completely pure insanity. It really is. Me, on the other hand, when I realized that life was getting monotonous, when life was just getting so dull, doing the exact same thing, that's when I asked myself, okay, is this really what I want? What do I actually want in life? And, as you probably know, after answering all of those, after being completely honest to myself, let me tell you, I've never been more confident in my life, and I've never been more fulfilled in my life, despite hardly seeing any progress yet. Okay, keyword is yet. I've barely seen any progress yet. But I'll rather take this any day than going back and just mindlessly listening in a classroom, hour upon hour, day after day. Why? Because I'm actually working towards something that means something to me. I'm working towards something that is so much bigger than I could have ever imagined, so much more ambitious than I could have ever thought of, right? I am working towards something greater than myself. And let me tell you, man, it is one of the best feelings waking up, knowing that, okay, time to get to work. Move, go. Time to get to work. It is one of the best feelings ever. Not because the gratification is instant, not because I'm seeing the progress I want to see, but it's simply because even with just a taste of that progress, you understand that you can work for something, you can achieve something, and you don't need a diploma to do it. You don't need numbers on the paper to validate your value, to dictate how well your future is going to be. Fuck no. All you need is to put your head down, dedicate yourself, be confident in yourself, and just work your ass off. And you can absolutely change your life. You can actually achieve your dreams. And if there was one regret I've ever had in this life, it would probably be that I never did this sooner, right? So, I guess all this to say is I just wish people had more backbone, you know? I wish people had more backbone. People were more critical when it came to criticizing themselves, reflecting on themselves, rather than criticizing and judging other people. Because I think if we were more critical towards ourselves, we would be boosting ourselves into so much greater heights than we ever could have if we wasted our time just pushing people down, looking down upon them, and at the end of the day, going back home and feeling sorry for what you're doing with your life. You know? But look, man, if you find fulfillment in doing the exact same monotonous thing every single day for the rest of your life, then by all means go for it. If that's your meaning of fulfillment, go for it. But if you're someone who knows they have big dreams, big ambitions, big goals, and they have a vision of the life that they want to live, let me tell you, man, the hard work, the sacrifice, the blood, sweat, and tears, they are so much worth your while pouring into yourself, pouring into your dream, than they are pouring into a piece of paper and numbers on a piece of paper. Your life is yours. You are the author of your own book. You are the captain of your soul. And it's up to you to give this story the ending it deserves. Stay frosty. Don't forget to drink your water. Keep on living life the way you want to live it. And if you're still complaining after this, then please kiss my